Title: Surprising Benefits of Herbal Teas for Overall Health. I was downing 5 cups of coffee a day, and I was still exhausted. My anxiety was permanently through the roof, and I hadn't slept through the night in months. My life was running on this frantic, jittery energy that would inevitably crash hard around 3 p.m., leaving me drained, irritable, and clawing for another cup. It was a vicious cycle. My work suffered, my mood was a mess, and I felt like I was living on a frayed nerve, just one minor inconvenience away from completely snapping. It was affecting everything, and I was just so tired of being tired. So, I did something drastic. Something that, as a die-hard coffee lover, honestly terrified me. I quit. For 30 days, I replaced every single cup with herbal tea. And what happened next was not at all what I was expecting. Section 1, The Breaking Point and the Plan. The final straw was a particularly brutal Tuesday. A deadline was breathing down my neck, the pressure was on, and my heart was literally pounding from all the caffeine I chugged just to stay focused. That night, I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, body exhausted, but my mind was racing a million miles an hour. I was replaying conversations, stressing about the next day, and feeling that sick hum of anxiety in my chest. I think I finally drifted off around 4 a.m., only to have my alarm screech 2 hours later. I felt worse than when I went to bed. That morning, looking at my haggard reflection, I knew something had to give. I couldn't keep borrowing energy from tomorrow just to get through today. That's when I made the call. 1 month. 30 days. No coffee. No lattes, no cappuccinos, no emergency espresso shots. The only warm, comforting drink I was allowed was herbal tea. My plan was simple: I'd track everything. My sleep using my smartwatch, my daily anxiety levels, and I'd take honest notes about my energy. I was skeptical, to say the least. Could a simple cup of flowers and leaves really replace the kick of my beloved coffee? I seriously doubted it, but I was desperate enough to try. I was about to find out this journey would completely transform my relationship with energy, stress, and sleep. Section 2, Week 1, The Caffeine Withdrawal Nightmare. I'm not going to lie to you, the first few days were awful. The caffeine withdrawal was real, and it was intense. A throbbing headache set up camp behind my eyes and refused to leave. I felt sluggish, foggy, and so irritable. It felt like my brain was refusing to boot up without its usual command prompt. During that first week, I kept it simple. I wasn't ready for exotic blends, I just needed to fill the coffee-shaped hole in my routine. I started with peppermint tea. I'd read it was a good choice because, while it's caffeine-free, it can help with focus. The aroma itself felt invigorating. And while it didn't give me that immediate, forceful jolt I was used to, it offered something else, a clean, refreshing lift that didn't come with a sour stomach or a crash. As a bonus, it also helped with the digestive sluggishness I was feeling, since peppermint is known to soothe the digestive system. By the end of the week, the headaches were finally starting to fade. I was still tired, but it was a different kind of tired. It was a natural, end-of-the-day fatigue, not that bone-deep, wired-but-tired exhaustion I was so used to. I wasn't thriving yet, but I had survived. And that felt like a win. Section 3, Week 2, The First Glimmer of Hope. Week 2 is where things started to turn around. The withdrawal fog finally lifted, and I started noticing real, tangible benefits. The biggest one? My sleep. For years, I had just accepted that waking up at 3 a.m. with a racing heart was my normal. This is when I brought in the big guns, chamomile tea. Chamomile is probably the most famous tea for relaxation, and for good reason. It has an antioxidant called apigenin, which binds to certain receptors in your brain that help you feel less anxious and can initiate sleep. So, every night, about an hour before bed, I started a new ritual, a steaming cup of chamomile. It's important to know that while it's a miracle for many, some people can have allergic reactions, especially if they're allergic to related plants like daisies or ragweed. The first night I did this, I slept all the way through until my alarm went off. I honestly can't tell you the last time that happened. I woke up feeling rested. Truly rested. The quality of my sleep was just different. This one change had a domino effect. Better sleep meant more natural energy during the day. My mornings were no longer a mad dash for caffeine. My anxiety, which was always worse with poor sleep, also started to loosen its grip. This was the turning point. I started to think, okay, maybe there's something to this. Section 4, Week 3, Exploring and Thriving. By week 3, I was actually feeling good. I wasn't just surviving without coffee, I was starting to thrive. My energy was stable all day long, a huge change from the caffeine roller coaster I used to be on. This new stability got me curious. What other benefits were hiding in these teas? My new midday drink became hibiscus tea, with its gorgeous red color and tart, cranberry-like flavor. But the benefits go way beyond taste. I learned that hibiscus tea is an antioxidant powerhouse and that studies have shown it can help lower blood pressure. For someone like me, who lived in a state of chronic stress, this was huge. However, a quick heads up, because it can lower blood pressure, you should talk to your doctor before making it a daily thing, especially if you're on medications like hydrochlorothiazide. In the evenings, I added another tea to my arsenal, lavender. I've always loved the calming scent of lavender, but I'd never tried drinking it. It turns out, it's just as relaxing. On days when I felt that familiar knot of work stress tightening in my chest, a cup of lavender tea was like a gentle, fragrant reset button for my brain. It didn't make my problems disappear, but it calmed my reaction to them, letting me think more clearly. Section 5, Week 4, The New Normal. By the final week, I realized something wild. I hadn't even thought about coffee in days. My new routine felt natural. Waking up before my alarm, feeling rested and clear-headed, that was my new normal. That frantic energy that used to run my day? It was gone. In its place was a quiet, steady, and sustainable fuel. I no longer hit that dreaded 3 p.m. wall. My energy stayed consistent from morning until evening. This was the most shocking part. I always believed I needed caffeine to be productive. This experiment proved that my body is perfectly capable of making its own energy, as long as I give it what it actually needs, restorative sleep. My whole mood had changed. The constant, low-level buzz of anxiety was gone. I felt calmer and more resilient. Stressful things still happened, but my response was totally different. I could think clearly instead of just jumping into fight or flight. It was like the volume on my internal alarm system had been turned down from a piercing shriek to a gentle chime. Section 6, The 30-Day Results, Before and After. So, after 30 days, what were the final results? Let's look at the tail of the tape. First, sleep. Before, I was getting maybe 4 to 5 hours of broken sleep a night. My sleep tracker showed very little deep sleep. After 30 days, I'm now consistently getting 7 to 8 hours of solid, uninterrupted sleep. My deep sleep has more than doubled. Next, anxiety. I used to live at a constant 7 out of 10 on the anxiety scale. Today, my baseline is a manageable 2 out of 10. The physical symptoms, the racing heart, the tight chest, are pretty much gone. And finally, energy. This was the biggest shocker. I thought quitting coffee meant a life of being tired. I could not have been more wrong. Before, my energy was a chaotic mess of artificial highs and crushing lows. Now, I have stable, consistent energy all day. It's a calm, focused energy, not a frantic, jittery one. Conclusion, the verdict. So, will I go back to drinking 5 cups of coffee a day? Absolutely not. This experiment fundamentally changed what I thought my body needed to function. Will I ever have a cup of coffee again? Maybe. But it'll be a choice, not a need. It'll be a treat for its flavor, not a crutch to get through the day. This journey taught me that I had been confusing stimulation with energy. Coffee gave me stimulation, but herbal teas, and the sleep they helped me get, gave me real, sustainable energy. The most surprising benefit wasn't just better sleep or less anxiety, it was realizing I could feel energized, focused, and calm, all at the same time. It was about finding peace in a cup, instead of chaos. CTA, call to action. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tried quitting coffee, or are you thinking about it? What are your go-to herbal teas for stress or sleep? Share your stories and your favorite blends in the comments below. I'm always looking for new ones to try. And if you found this story helpful, consider subscribing for more content like this. Thanks for watching.